Hey everybody, hope all of you guys are doing well out there today. And today I want us to speak real briefly about pointer number 20. Wow, I can't believe we're already on pointer number 20. Again, I'm just kind of doing these as I think of them. But pointer number 20, I want to entitle as the preacher doesn't ever need to go without having gospel literature, okay? Always have gospel literature. The preacher should always have gospel literature with him. Gospel tracts, Bibles, booklets, these type of things to give to the people. For example, when I'm preaching in certain places, when I, especially if I'm by myself and I'm preaching in certain places, like let's say at the Oklahoma City Thunder game where you have just crowds walking by. When I used to preach in front of the clubs, and you would have people gathered out in front of the clubs, people walking down the sidewalk, preaching, by theaters and these type of places, and you have a lot of foot traffic. I would always try to have tracts with me while I'm preaching. Have my Bible in one hand, have a little stack of tracts to, as I was preaching, if I would think about it, I'd offer tracts to those walking by. Obviously, if you engage somebody, if you get into a conversation with somebody, to always have a gospel tract to give them that they could leave with, that they could take home and read further. And that would go for anybody, whether you're preaching or not, you're doing evangelism on the streets, always have tracts. They're your best friend. And if you're a Christian, I would encourage you to hand tracts out. I was saved by reading a tract 27 years ago. So God saves people by reading gospel tracts because it is the gospel. And so, but this is for the preacher. This is all of these, the context is for the open air preacher. This is going to look different in different places where you preach. If you have other people with you, then maybe it's not as important to have tracts in your hand while you're actually preaching, but have tracts for your people that are with you. Have tracts. Be passing out tracts. Gospel tracts and open air preaching, they go hand in hand. I mean, they really do. I would feel completely naked without gospel tracts. But, that's the reason when I'm preaching, I usually, if I think about it, I would say always, but I would say I usually am wearing a satchel, okay? And I'm not wearing a satchel to look cool or anything like that. I'm wearing a satchel because I keep different tracts in it. Tracts, booklets, I always keep a few Bibles. I keep information about our church. We print a little flyer with our church information. It also has a gospel message. So I always have a satchel on. Some guys wear a backpack, whatever, but have something on. That I have all of those things with me. I'm going to share a few things that I have on my satchel, or in my satchel, that I have at all times. And also, when we're preaching at the bus station, if you've seen some of our videos, that place is a little different. You can actually set a table up there, and people come and receive it. Whereas other areas, if you set a table up with Bibles, nobody's going to come get them. But over at the bus station, it's a unique place. You're dealing with more of the common people, and so they come and get Bibles. They come and get tracts off the table. But, and of course, when we have people with us, they have tracts in their hands as well. But these are the kind of things that we set on the table, and these are the kind of things that I have in my satchel. This is not an endorsement of these certain tracts. That's not what it is. But I just want to show you an example of to have tracts with you and even other booklets to have in your backpack, to have in your satchel, if you set a table up, to have different literature to help people maybe wherever they're at, their different needs, their different spiritual needs. And so here's a few things that we start with Bibles. We have Bibles on the table. We usually have the full Bible, but there are times where we'll just simply have a New Testament, maybe a Gospel of John, but always have the Word of God. Always have Bibles if you're able. And so we have Bibles, we have those things. Also have this book here. I hope you can see this. The sun's kind of, here it is. Sun's kind of glaring in this car. This is called The Gospel of Jesus Christ by Paul Washer. And it's a 28-page little booklet. It gives a thorough explanation of the gospel. Thorough exposition of the gospel. So this would be fantastic for a person to take with them. And we go through hundreds of these. I mean, at the bus station, we go through Bibles regularly. All of these booklets regularly. On any given day at the bus station, we probably go through 8 or 10 Bibles and 8 or 10 of these booklets. And so here's another booklet. I usually have one or the other on the table because somebody wouldn't need both of these. And so this is called The Ultimate Questions by John Blanchard. And this is another thorough presentation of the gospel, similar to that booklet, but it presents the gospel by answering questions. Some of life's most basic questions. Is anyone there? Is God speaking? Who am I? What is God like? And through these questions, what went wrong? You know, it starts talking about the garden. And so these are obviously more weightier than just a normal tract. They're little booklets. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We have our normal tracts. We have these. Are you ready? Presents the gospel, answers the most basic question. Just a presentation of the gospel that we have. Well, I also try to have tracts on hand from Chapel Library. And I don't know if you can see these. These are just a couple of examples of their tracts. They have a whole bunch of them. A lot of their tracts are written by older authors, you know, A.W. Pink, these type of guys. But this one is, Do You Know Jesus Christ? Forgiveness for the Greatest of Sinners. Again, little pamphlet tracts, solid presentation of the gospel. I always try to have some Spanish tracts. You know, a lot of times I have these comic book tracts. We have something for those who are maybe ensnared by Roman Catholicism. These are presents the difference between Christianity and Roman Catholicism and helps present the gospel. And then I also usually try to have something for children. This is $1 Million Bill from Living Waters. It has the law and the gospel on the back, you know, but it would focus on the 5th commandment. Have you always obeyed mom and dad? You always honored your parents rather than looking with lust. But it's a simple gospel tract worded specifically for young children. So anyway, these are just, this is not saying these are the tracts you need to have, nothing like that. But this is just an example to have not only tracts, but different tracts to meet people's different needs where they're at. And so when you're talking to somebody, you're like, man, I wish I had such and such tract. So be thinking about these things and purchase different tracts. Keep them in your bag, keep them in your satchel, keep them, you know, on your table if you're doing that kind of thing. Keep them in your backpack, because we want to do all we can to meet people's greatest needs where they're at spiritually, to present the gospel and to bring them to Christ. That's our greatest desire, to present Christ to these folks. We love our neighbor. So anyway, I thank you guys. I think that's probably enough. I went a little long today, but yeah, if you're going to preach the gospel on the streets, guys, always have gospel tracts with you. Anyway, until next time, God bless.